All right, we're here at the Real Estate Roundtable with IPRG, and today we're joined by the IPRG Retail Leasing Team, headed by Ben Biberaj and Greg Goldberg, and Luke Sproviero is here as well, as usual.
Yep.
And this is Derek Bestrick, so welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us. We're excited.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited as well. Happy you guys decided to come join IPRG. I feel like that's a really good step in the right direction for all of us, and we feel like our businesses and relationships are really complementary, so really happy to have you guys here.
No, we're super excited. We think, our background and the company you've built over the last decade, I think it complements both of us very well, so we're super excited for the future.
For sure. So, we've historically been selling like these middle market type of buildings. It could be 20 footers, 25 footers, or bigger buildings as well, but a lot of these buildings have, retail spaces in them, and we know that you guys kind of you lease a lot of similar spaces, right? Like, is that right? 20 footers, 25 footers, or bigger?
Yeah, we specialize really anywhere from, 500 to 10,000 square feet, non-institutional landlords. Similar to you, we're in the volumes business. So It's about really, being full service for our clients and really making sure that we maximize the value. You have one retail space, eight residential units, like every dollar matters for them on that return. So we really take a lot of pride in, getting the best rents and the best tenants for the clients.
For sure.
And just like you said, like that middle market, that's where we specialize, especially like in the downtown market, the East Village, the West Village, the Sohos, the NoHos. Someone that doesn't want to spend $100,000 per month on rent, they're coming to those middle markets, those downtown markets where they're a little more affordable for those retail tenants, those restaurant tenants. And like Ben said, that 500 square foot cafe or maybe that 2,000 square foot restaurant, cocktail bar, that's our bread and butter. And we do that, left and right. And I think when we first started coming here, our alignment was kind of similar. Your market in the investment sales was similar. Our line in the retail market was similar. So it was just a great fit and a great mesh.
We agree, for sure.
Yeah, we've always prided ourselves on volume because we sell a lot of properties.
Yep.
And I think we really like that nature of the business, like just the deal, like consistent deal aspect. Like there's other brokers that will do, a handful of deals a year. We like being busy and on our toes.
We're always busy. We're always, just like you said, you're always busy. You're always on our toes, and we want to be relevant. You can't not see Ben and I in traded, every week or every other week, closing a deal here, closing a deal there. So that's kind of, obviously we want to hit home runs every day, but the singles and doubles, they add up. So
yeah, we feel the same way.
Yeah,
I think
That's our exact business.
I think I saw Ben is ranked like the top of the list for traded for most leasing activity. So
yeah, no, we we really pride ourselves in the volume that we do and in the work that we deliver for our clients, right? Like as Greg said, the home runs are amazing. We all love the big notable deals. That's a small percentage of New York City retail leasing. The mom and pops, the small, the neighborhoods, that's what builds the character of New York, and we take a lot of pride in helping build that and really, changing neighborhoods and adding value and making people who live here or visit here, their experience is completely different based on us putting tenants in place that make it attractive.
Yeah, it's important for these blocks. I know you mentioned that too when you first started here, that you transform. I forgot what block it was, but you worked on transforming several blocks, and it does matter like what tenants are on these streets.
Are there examples of like transformations that you're like especially proud of?
Yeah, Luke's referring to is on the Upper West Side on Columbus Avenue between 85 and 86. I've done 7 of the restaurants in that block. I mean, somebody who lives on that corner or on that street can tell their friends and family what they love about their neighborhood, and I guarantee you 4 or 5 of the deals I've done are a staple marked as everyday life in the area, and it's amazing to know that we've completely changed someone's experience in a neighborhood based on our deals.
Yeah.
And that's super important because when we're showing a space, 9 out of 10 times, there's going to be a resident or someone that works in the area, lives in the area. Hey, what's going on in the space? Who are you showing it to? What's coming in? And I simply ask, what do you want? It's not just about me. I'm getting paid regardless, and it's not about our commission. It's how do we make this block better, and how do we transform it for the next generation. So someone that's been there, these institutional guys, maybe a Katz's Deli, they're not going anywhere. They've been there for almost 100 years. But these new and upcoming restaurateurs, they're going to be there for the next decade, 2 decades, hopefully 3 decades.
Hopefully,
and so that's that's our goal.
So when you see a space like that, how do you just determine like what will make the neighborhood or the block or the space better versus like making it worse.
Yeah,
What
I mean,
makes it worse?
canvas the area, see what's in the neighborhood, what's on the block, and what's missing. So you're not going to put an Italian restaurant next to an Italian restaurant, but maybe there's a vacancy or a lack of Asian cuisine. And when you go into Asian cuisine, it can be anything. It could be Chinese, Japanese, Thai restaurant. And in the East Village, there's tons. And then they have different submarkets to those. It could be a ramen restaurant. It could be a udon noodle specialty. So, we really take pride and see what that block or that area is missing. Do I need a steakhouse? Do I need a smash burger concept? Do I need an ice cream shop? Is it just for dry retail? Could it be a clothing store? Could it be, a coffee shop, a donut shop? So it really, this city, we're in the capital of capitalism, and this is an island 8 by 3 miles that everyone in the world has a passion and dream to open a business here, to make a living here, to bring their culinary expertise or their background. So it's super important. But I mean, we're great at our jobs, but the neighborhood usually speaks to us. How do we make this retail landscape more attractive, not only to the tenant, not to the residents, the landlord, but to, like Ben said, to tourists, to the world. Because people will come here. I mean, just to go back to Katz's Deli, there'll be a line, 500 people at the line, around the corner, because they're from Europe, they're from Asia, and they wanted to try New York City corned beef and pastrami, and they'll come specifically for that. And that's what we try to do when we have a vacant space. We want to bring them here. And
So you get a vacant space and you're like, oh, this would be great for some sort of certain use.
Yeah.
And then you guys like go to your tenant lists and the connections you have and you're like try to pull them in.
Exactly. So we've been doing this long enough where you give us any space, we have, instantly hundreds of tenants that we know it fits their criteria.
Yeah.
We do take a very broad approach, right? We have spaces that are, dry use, and we like to take a broad approach because we get more eyes on the space. And, we've had spaces that were fully turnkey gyms that have rented to restaurants or walk-in clinics that have been fashion stores, right? So we don't want to limit ourselves to a potential use unless that's what the landlord wants. If our client wants a specific use, we will limit it. But we take a broad approach. We really go out to the market, hit all different angles, and try to get the most interest. And then as we see who is showing the most interest, we really hone in on that and try to find the right tenant for the space. We also pride ourselves on, a lot of our clients will stand behind this. We try to get multiple offers on a space. We want the client to not say, like, I took the first deal that I had. We had 4 offers. There was 4 different restaurant groups. I went and visited them. I met with them. I moved forward with who I was the most comfortable with. And we take a lot of pride in that. We want our clients to know that ultimately the decision was theirs, and we give them multiple options to find the right tenant for the space.
Yeah.
What's the best tenant to get these days? Obviously, it's different for blocks and areas, but what are landlords looking for? What are you guys looking for?
Yeah, so obviously every market's different. Food and beverage typically pays the highest price per square foot. If the space is vented, you typically can rent it pretty quickly. It's really, every space is rentable if you price it right, if you prep it right. We take a lot of pride in making sure our clients, prep the spaces in a condition that's showable. Years ago, a tenant would see 4 or 5 spaces, make a decision on which one they want to move forward with and submit an offer. Now we have tenants that see 30, 40, 50 spaces. So if your space doesn't show well, you're never going to make that top list when someone's seen 50 spaces. So we walk our clients through with contractors. The epoxy paint floors, the white box of the space, we redo the lights, and we make sure that when somebody walks in, they're going to have no doubt that our client cares about their space and there's somebody that they want to do a deal with.
And we want to make it look like a gallery. I mean, we want to make it look as nice as possible because, like Ben said, these tenants are seeing 10, 20 spaces, and they're going to say, hey, this space needs the most work. I love the block, but I don't have the capital to bring it up to code. I don't have the capital to even open the doors or security deposit. So when they see a space that has, a restaurant space, it has a kitchen. The kitchen infrastructure is in place. The gas lines are there. The black iron hood is there. The HVAC is there. The lighting is there. The floor is there. The bar is in place. These are all things that are pros that landlords, that the tenants are like, okay, I don't have to take care of that. That's one less thing.
They don't want to do work, right? Do they have the vision of like
no one wants to do work.
Don't they have some businesses have, I'm sure, have their own vision of how they want to do a space. But
even if the space is built out, that was built out for the previous tenant. So the new tenant has a new concept. So just because it's built out, they might request, 12 months free or 6 months free because, hey, it's a great space, but that's not my concept, and I have to gut the whole space and redo it.
But at least the bones, right?
The bones are there. That's the most important
HVAC,
thing.
the lighting.
The big
venting,
stuff.
the
the
gas.
venting.
The issue is like with the kitchen, right? You get somebody in with a fully turnkey restaurant. That kitchen assembly, the way the line's built, is not the same for every restaurant. So
Correct.
they'll save pieces of it, but they ultimately rip it all out.
Yeah.
The cosmetic, it's very rare that somebody takes the space with the cosmetics close to their brand, so they rip it all out. But it's the bones are important. You need the gas line, you need the ventilation, you need the HVAC, because those are things that you're dealing with the gas, right? With Con Ed, we all know it's a challenge. Nobody wants to deal with that. So if the gas is in place, that's a bonus. If the venting's in place, you're in a 20-story building, that can be a $300,000 job that they don't have to pay for. The bones are there.
This business just opened. I live in Tribeca, and this business just opened. It was under construction forever, and I heard the reason was it was Con Ed. They couldn't get like the sign off
For the gas.
for the gas.
Which business?
It was a supermarket called Meadow Lane.
Meadow Lane.
Meadow Lane's blowing up. You
Super
can't even get
famous,
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just opened. There's still lines.
It's
I
like
got
a
it.
new. It's
Years
like
open.
it's like
What?
It took.
It took a long time. Don't quote me on the exact time, but it was really long time. They had their signage up, and we're like, when is this place opening? It's like a high end like
super. It's like Erewhon, but
they try to be like Erewhon, but it's much smaller than Erewhon,
Right.
and the food's like good. Like the chicken nuggets are really good.
yeah. I mean, if you have
We got it. It
if you have a
was-
security guard for a supermarket, you're I don't know,
Yeah,
doing
I mean the
something.
lines are starting to die down, but the point is, I heard they had a major holdup.
So there's
with
two
gas.
there's two things that affect a lot of our restaurant deals that are just things when we're negotiating free time that we always try to let our clients know the tenant can't control this.
Yep.
If you need to put gas in the space, you're dealing with Con Edison, they're going to ask for a year free. If they get up and running earlier, they'll start paying rent typically, but they're going to ask for a year because they can't control Con Edison and the SLA, the State Liquor Authority. I mean, we're seeing deals now where we're enticing our tenants to get to the community board prior to lease signing just to get a head start to apply.
How long does that take? The SLA?
A lot of liquor attorneys are telling us now for the tenants that's for 6 to 8 months free.
And the liquor license doesn't transfer from one.
No.
And,
No.
and
It's
doesn't
not-
stay
it-
with the space. It's
No,
like
no,
each.
it's for the tenant and the space.
Is it easier to get if a space has it?
It's way easier.
It's easier to get again,
Correct, yeah.
even though the tenant's different. So you have a liquor license in your location right now.
That's a good sign that you'll be able to have a liquor
it's still
license.
taking quite a while.
It's not guaranteed, but that's a good sign typically that you have to go through the community board. You have to get approved by the community first. Usually, if they approve you, the SLA will give you the approval. It's just the time can be anywhere from 6 to 8 months, and you're really at the dispense of a state agency.
Why would they not give a liquor license?
It could be so. There's certain laws and rules, the 200-foot rule,
Yeah.
500-foot rule. If you're within that distance of a house of worship
Or a school.
or a
School.
school, beer and wine you can get pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
But when full liquor, you have to be within those areas. But in community boards 2 and 3, which is East Village, West Village, Soho, NoHo, it's so saturated. Those neighborhoods, the community boards say, hey, we don't want another liquor license. There's already 10 on the block. We're not approving.
There's different ones too, right? You have the 4 a.m., which is
You
the
have a
hard
4
one to
a.m.,
get,
which is
right?
the hard.
We're not
you have
seeing
2
so much of
a.m.
that
I have a
anymore.
4 a.m. in one of my buildings.
Yeah, we're not seeing so much of that
Usually
anymore.
usually community boards don't issue 4 a.m.s to first-time operators, or you might get a stipulation for a midnight or a 2 a.m. and then you could reapply in the next year if you're a good tenant. You don't have any violations or complaints from the community. You can reapply to get a later liquor license.
The
But
4 a.m. It doesn't seem
it-
necessary.
It's
pretty
nothing
crazy.
happens good at 4
Yeah,
a.m.
nothing's
but
happened. I would like shut my door at like 2
yeah.
a.m.
So I mean,
1 a.m.
tenants are usually okay
So-
with a
Yeah.
midnight or a 2 a.m. But
So are these leases contingent on?
yeah,
getting
because if they
approvals?
can't get a liquor license, then they can't operate their business. So
Yeah, so we try to structure it in different ways. So
Yeah.
this is why we really push to get the tenants on the community board prior to lease signing. If you get approved by the community board, you get approved typically by the SLA, again, unless you're within a certain distance of a school or a church or a religious institution.
Yeah.
But your liquor attorney will find that out prior to even wasting your time to go to the community board. We do our due diligence on that as well.
How long does community board take?
You can sign up usually within a month. You
And get approval?
yeah, they send you the schedule when the next meeting is. You sign up for it, you show up, you bring all your documents, and they have an open discussion, and they either approve you or they don't. If they approve you, the SLA typically, approves it as well. But the time, it's 6-8 months from sending in your application sometimes, and it's there's nothing you can do to expedite it.
every community board is different, but usually on the first Tuesday or Thursday of every month, these community boards meet and they decide who gets what and what are their stipulations.
Got it.
But that's what when we're vetting these tenants, hey, are you a first time operator? Are you an experienced operator? Are you experienced in that neighborhood? You might be in the West Village and you might have 5 restaurants and you have a great relationship with the community board. That process is going to be very seamless.
Questions. Obviously, this is a hot tenant to have a restaurant, and we've all lived in these neighborhoods in New York, the West Village, Tribeca, whatever it is. You see restaurants go in, they go out, some stay for a really long time, which is great. As either a landlord or a broker, what do you want to see from a restaurant tenant? What makes you excited about someone? Is it like location count, money in the bank? Like what makes you nervous and what makes you like ready to go?
I think it's a combination of everything. Obviously, we're living in a social media world, so you want to see if they have a strong social media following. So, what does their Instagram look like? How many followers do they have? It's a good sign if their restaurants are jam-packed on a Friday, Saturday night. It's a great sign if it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's raining and it's cold and it's still a line out the door. Like Hillstone, it's going to be busy Monday through Sunday, rain or shine. So, you want to have, that the landlord wants to have that comfortability of, is this going to make it? I'm signing a 10-year lease. I'm giving half a year free, and I'm spending, broker fees, legal fees. I want to make sure.
So the numerous locations important then, because you're not going to have any of that.
Yeah, but everyone starts somewhere. So
when do you take the risk on someone when they have
you're
no
taking
location?
a risk, but obviously there's experienced operators that give the keys back. They have, a hospitality group that has 10 plus locations, but for some reason that space didn't work, and they have to assign it or exercise their good guy clause. So.
Got it. When does a landlord say, I'll take a shot on this guy? He has no restaurant.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So it's all about the negotiation, right? So if you're a first-time operator, you come in with a substantial background, you have capital, you have investors, people that will sign on the guarantee, a good idea, right? Something it's not new to New York. It's just we're not reinventing the wheel here, right? So you get somebody who you financially feel can commit to some sort of lockout period where they're guaranteed to pay rent. Somebody will take a risk if a space has been sitting on the market for a little while. Lower price point under $20,000 a month. You can get those deals done. Let them build their business model up, and if they want to swing for a bigger space in the future, the proof of concept is what will get them there. So they typically start on the lower price point rents.
Why do I see sometimes, like in Williamsburg, for example, market that we love, why these restaurants that have a great name, they'll open a sister restaurant. They're kind of like not side street locations. They're on retail corridors, but not the best blocks. Are they doing this because they have a name and people will find them and they want a cheaper rent, or is there an allure to not be with every other restaurant?
It's a combination, right? So everybody has different ideas on what's best for their business. Some operators, they build a brand. They say it's a sister restaurant. People will go there. So to save, half of rent to be on a side street and you're going to get the business regardless, that's a no-brainer.
Got it.
Typically for a restaurant, they want 10% of their sales to be their rent. So it's all an economic factor. If they're paying $500,000 a year in rent, they need to make $5 million a year to kind of break even and start making money.
And some of these guys will only look on the avenue. Some of these guys will only want to be on side streets, like you said. Some of these guys only want to be on corners, and that's a price difference. It goes from, if you're on a side street, it's going to be a lower price point. If you're on the avenue, it's going to be a higher price point. And if you're on a corner, you're looking at a 20% minimum bump from those rents. So it's a combination of everything. And when they open up a sister restaurant, that's great for a landlord because, hey, we're doing great at this one and we're ready for our next one. So it's really how comfortable are they financially and proof of concept.
Makes sense.
But then you have landlords that say, I don't care about the tenant, I care about the rent. And then you have other landlords that say, I don't care about the rent, I care about the quality of tenant. This is my baby. This is my only building. This is one of 100 buildings. I want a great use. Some landlords say, I want a great use. Sometimes I want a great rent, and sometimes we get both.
What's the ideal size of these units? Not just for restaurants, but when you go to market with, we sell a lot of 25 footers, right? 25 by 50, 70 could be good. What about for you guys?
So frontage is important for us, right?
Okay.
So there's not an ideal size. We do all sorts of ranges. I mean, we've done deals in spaces with 12 feet entrances to 100 feet entrances, right? So it's really not a black and white answer to that. It's more about when we price spaces, we take all that into effect. New York City, any given day, has 10 million people in the city, right? If you price a space, every space in Manhattan is desirable. If it's priced into the market.
Correct.
Right? So we take a different approach to it. We find any challenge that we have in the space and we figure out a way to make it still attractive and push it that way.
And there's always going to be challenges in the city. I mean, the city's built over 100 years ago. So all these buildings in the lower markets, this is the only place in the world that these concepts can thrive, and sometimes, you know, they want to have these unique spaces, a below grade space, above grade space. You know, you go to any other city that's, you know, a newer city, and everything's ground floor retail. Every store has a 30, 40-foot frontage.
Yeah.
But this city, you know, you walk in the West Village, you might have a 10-foot frontage, but it opens up in the back. It might have a U-shaped layout, but you don't go anywhere else in the world and see, you know, I got to go 3 steps down, 4 steps down, 4 or 5 steps up, and that's a whole nother challenge. You know,
Definitely.
getting in this business, or someone who focuses in traditional high-end retail on Madison Ave might not know how to take and market a restaurant space, because there are these little challenges, you know, just like Ben was saying, walking through the tenant through the whole kitchen, you know, with the whole Con Ed, with the gas line, the HVAC specialist. We're going to have an ADA issue if there's a below grade or above grade. Sometimes it's grandfathered in. Most of the times, if it's new construction, you got to install a ramp. Some of these brokers just won't know the deal flow of a restaurant deal, which is completely different than, you know, a high-end retail store on the Upper East Side or Soho, where you don't need to pull permits or go to, you know, get sign-offs. You know, you're putting up shelves. Here, you know, the kitchen, the vent, the HVAC, the ADA, the liquor license, these things, it's like an onion. It doesn't end until the doors open. There's so many things that can go right and so many things that can go wrong, and you really need a broker that's done it and that's experienced in that world to get these deals across the finish line.
Got it.
Wow. It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff, and getting in the business, you don't realize how much stuff and knowledge goes into a restaurant deal as opposed to a traditional, you know, jewelry store or clothing store.
Yeah, but you would think like a clothing store, or jewelry store, like as a tenant in a building, like if I was like a resi tenant, I would prefer not to be above a restaurant.
Yeah,
for
less
few
noise,
few
less
reasons.
rodents.
Yeah.
Like a clothing store, like a Rag and Bone, sounds like if you can land someone like that, seems like that's like the best tenant, but maybe they don't pay a great price. I don't know.
No, look, the reality is most buildings are owned by people that don't live in the building. So
Yeah.
it's, you know, they want somebody that's going to pay the rent
Yeah.
that they're confident in. And look, we understand. Nobody, you know, we wouldn't want to live right above a restaurant. You get
Yeah.
the smells, you get the people, you get the
Yeah.
rodents.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But New York City's, you know, food and beverage has always really controlled New York City. That's
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons, I think the biggest reason why people come here.
It's
Definitely.
the hospitality capital of the world.
I go anywhere for food.
Yeah.
Like, any place I travel,
The strongest tenant, food and beverage.
They pay the highest price per square foot in most markets, right? When you do Madison Avenue or some Soho pockets, food and beverage can't afford those
Yeah.
$4, $5, $6, $1,000 foot spaces. But in most neighborhoods, they pay the highest, you know, price per square foot at almost a 20% increase. So that's where the value is.
that makes sense.
Negotiating with the food and beverage and like trying to do a deal with them, right? Like there's a space, it's already vented, there's already bar, like it's a decent build out, but it's not what this tenant necessarily wants. What are you guys doing in terms of like TI or concessions?
Yeah, so in this environment, we're trying to have our clients not put up so much in TI, unless it's for basic infrastructure that's going to be there regardless if the tenant succeeds, right? HVAC, ventilation, things like that. It's more free time. The liquor license is going to take 6 to 8 months. You can pull permits and build out a restaurant in 6 to 8 months typically. So we try to really adjust it to what's going to take the longest, which is a liquor license, and just give them that in free time. And most of our clients understand, like the restaurant's not going to start paying rent unless they're up and running and open. They need the liquor license. That's their profit. So most clients are willing to work with them.
So you sign a lease, the tenant has 6 to 8 months to do whatever they need to do in terms of build out and getting the liquor license, and then they're up and running.
They're up and running. I mean, the opening for restaurants, we think, is the most important part for them, right? Their grand opening is what makes or breaks a lot of these restaurant groups. So that's why a lot of these restaurants won't open with a beer and wine license. It's just opening a restaurant, not selling alcohol or liquor. It's hard for them to build a brand as a restaurant that doesn't sell liquor.
There's just so much competition, and just you know, fumbling at day one is never a good sign.
Some of these major build outs on these restaurants that I've been into, like, it's just like, you know, it's expensive. It's massive. There's one on my block called a Beef Bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like, I've been in there. I was there for opening night, and it was packed during opening night. I don't know how they're doing now, but it was expensive. The build out.
Yeah, when you're spending $10 million plus on a build out,
Yeah.
and you're taking an iconic
And
space
it's
where
huge.
Nobu started.
Yeah.
You know, on the corner of Franklin and
Yeah.
and Hudson. It's an iconic building.
Yep.
Iconic brand that was there, and it's tough shoes to fill.
The size of the space makes me nervous. It's just so big.
Yeah, when you have a 10,000 square foot restaurant
Yeah.
in Tribeca, it's going to be a pricey build out.
Yeah.
We see build outs on the low end, $1 million, and on the high end, 10, 12, $15 million build outs.
You get into some of these union buildings, the build out cost for these tenants is astronomical. I mean,
But
you're
that's
adding
what-
30-40% to the build out cost.
But that's what brings these tenants in, and that's what brings the customers in, because the high demand of hospitality. I travel the world, and you're not treated anywhere nearly as good as you are when you sit down at a good New York City restaurant. I mean, if you go to a different market, you're like, wow, this is not New York.
Yeah.
When you're greeted by the hostess, when you're greeted by the waiter, and it's just little things that we do here that just separates us from anywhere else in the city, and that's what makes the city special. So they pay big rents, but cities, living here and working here, it's expensive, but that's why we're here to experience this on a day-to-day basis.
It's crazy. What's the success rate in these high retail markets, right? Like retail meaning like the clothing. Like you see them like on Bleecker and Soho and Upper East Side.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely much higher than the food and beverage.
For success. 'Cause they have a
for
good name.
success.
I think it's
Yeah.
80% fail rate for these operators that will close within the first 2 years
for
That's
food,
restaurant.
for food and beverage.
for restaurants.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
It's
As a
crazy.
landlord, that kind of must make you feel nervous.
Yeah, it's a high risk, high reward, but that's just the nature of the business.
80% fail rate?
80%, I think, close within, they sign a 10, 15-year lease, but they might give the keys back within the first 3.
Are owners negotiating for profit sharing on these leases?
Not anymore. I
Okay.
think that was more of a COVID thing.
It happens more if the tenant they really want and they're paying a much below market rent. You can negotiate something, but it's not super common. It does happen, but it's not as common as it was.
How do you know that the tenant's going to be honest with you?
I don't think
Like,
they're going
oh,
to.
right. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
there's
because-
ways to do it. You have access to the POS systems. The way
Yeah.
the technology
Oh,
is, you
really?
can share the reports and things like that. So it's not so much of an issue.
Oh.
It's just the reality is, and we tell our clients who want to get in on the profit sharing, it's like best thing that can happen for you is this restaurant be super successful, let them make so much money that they'll never leave. That's the
Makes
best thing
sense.
that can happen.
100%.
And how does it work if they fail and they want to leave the space after 2 years?
Yeah, so we negotiate what's called a good guy guarantee in most of our leases. So the way that works typically is, the tenant signs a 10-year lease, they stay for 4 of the 10 years. So they've stayed for 40% of the lease. They'll have to pay back 60% of the broker fees that were paid, 60% of the free time. That's why it matters the financials of the individual. Most businesses are signed on single purpose entities, right? And then there's an individual that signs on as the guarantee. That's somebody with assets, somebody who's, proven to be financially strong, and that person's on the hook to pay back those unamortized costs of the landlords before they can give the keys back.
But it's not the unamortized remaining obligation of the lease.
No.
It's not the remaining 6 years.
No, sometimes we have lockouts. Usually,
So there's like a breakup fee, essentially.
Yeah, usually you'll have some language where you can't exercise a good guy guarantee for the first 2 or 3 years, just to give that confidence that you'll be there for that time period. And most tenants are willing to offer that because they're not going to go spend $1, $2, $3, $5 million in a space thinking they're going to be out in 2 years.
Got it. And you can get this fee, the breakup fee? Like people get them, or is it like a whole litigation thing?
I mean, look, we see both sides of it. It
Yeah,
gets
of
it
course.
becomes litigation sometimes. Most restaurants know within 6 months in advance if they're going to close. So you give the 6 months notice period, and then it's a negotiation factor. You'll leave everything in the store. You'll leave all the chairs, the furniture, the equipment. Maybe you negotiate yourself to pay a little bit less because you're giving the landlord a lot of ammo for the next tenant to get somebody in quickly. So it's a combination. It's always a negotiation.
If they're not making it, they don't want them there. And if they want to get out, we want the next tenant in that's going to make it and help pay his mortgage. So that usually we make a deal, but it is a negotiation.
All right. What else?
No, good stuff. You guys are off to the races. I see. I mean, you've been hit and traded again, and
We're trying.
and we're doing deals. And I see the lease signings rolling through. So, can you share any recent deals that we've done?
Yeah, so just kind of more on a broad picture, right? Our business is our business. As in the brokerage world, you're your own brand.
Yeah.
Right. We partnered with IPRG because of the amazing reputation that you have in the industry. We think we have an amazing reputation also, but our clients know who we are. People in the industry know who we are. So when we switched companies, it was no hiccup for us. We've had people that we've worked with years ago, people we've never worked with, reach out, and we're really just focused on getting back into the volume. We've been here for 12 weeks. We've closed 16 deals, right? Not where we were at, previously, but we're growing it. We're up to 9 brokers. We'll be at, 10 to 15 in the next month or so. And we're super excited for the growth.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What about some deal? What in your career recent? Like, what are any good deal stories? Any good spaces that you want to talk about?
Yeah. So
bad deals, maybe.
No. We don't
Current
talk about bad deals.
There's no bad deal.
No, you know what? My favorite deal I've ever done, and one thing that I really admire about New York, when I moved here from Virginia 15 years ago, people in New York love New York. You can live here for a month, you can live here for 20 years. New York's the best place in the world. Everyone says it, right? People left during COVID, they went to Florida, they all came back.
That's so
right?
true.
Like nobody.
Grass is not greener. They all thought it.
It sounds so nice being in 100-degree weather in the middle of winter, but New York City's New York City.
100%.
So I represented a brand called New York or Nowhere at their flagship store at 250 Lafayette.
With the hats.
Yeah, exactly. So we call that clicks to bricks. They were an online retailer. They had pop-ups. We got them their permanent flagship store. You can't go to a Knicks game, a Rangers game, a Yankee game without seeing their brand everywhere. Aaron Judge wears their stuff. Actors, actresses. It's just like amazing to see that.
Every girl in Tribeca where I live has that hat.
They do great. They do great events with the marathon. You run the marathon, and you show that you ran it. You get free tote bag, and they've really built a New York brand. And you can't go anywhere. I've gone all over the world and seen people at the New York or Nowhere.
Get out of here.
The New York or Nowhere clothes, and it's just amazing to know that we put them into their space and worked with them and negotiated a deal that I think was super beneficial for them and just helped them grow their brand.
Where was their first store?
250 Lafayette.
Oh, great location.
They're doing amazing.
That location's
and
perfect.
It's such a great brand. It's really just like part of the identity of New York now.
So they do more than the hats. They do
hats, clothes. They do combo with collaborations with the Yankees and Mets, and I think the Rangers and definitely the Knicks. But you can't go to the Garden without seeing every third person with a New York or Nowhere, something on, which is amazing to see.
It's a good idea.
And it's a New York brand. It's as New York as it gets.
Clicks to bricks.
You see people online posting it with the hashtag, and just to say we had played a little part in helping them grow their business. It feels great.
I love that. I had no idea about that. That's great.
Yeah.
I want one of those hats. I don't know which one to get.
Yeah.
But you see them too much. It's insane.
Let's get them.
All right.
I guess recently, about a year ago, my biggest deal was at 598 Broadway in Soho. It's between Target and Wilson. It's the start of Soho. It was a 9,500 square foot deal. About a year ago, we had a huge interest in cannabis groups. Those are dying down, but the travel agency, I represent the landlord on this transaction. It was my biggest deal to date, numbers-wise. Another one in Soho, I've been super active on Grand Street, 62 Grand Street. This was early on in my career, but still my favorite deal to date. The tattoo artist called Bang Bang. And one of my favorite clients to work with on the landlord side and represent the tenant as well. It was a clothing store for 30 years. It hasn't been available for 3 decades, and we got the listing and found a tenant and saw everything. I DM'd him on Instagram. This is when Instagram was just becoming kind of popular in the business world, but DM'd him. He put out a post, hey, I'm looking for retail space, hit me up. I need another location. Met him the next day, he responded. Toured him. Justin Bieber interrupted our tour, mid-tour. I remember this like it was yesterday. We were at 21 Crosby on the corner of Grand. He only wanted a lower level space for like a private studio, and it ended up becoming like a 3,500 square foot second location at 62 Grand Street.
Wait, so Justin Bieber took the location?
No, he interrupted the tour. He's like, hey, Bang Bang, I need you to tattoo my chest. And he has this whole like line.
So he happened to know that they were in there?
No, he was like, hey, Bang Bang, I need you to
I
need you to come fly out to LA. And he's like, hey, I need to leave this tour. So next week we continued the
got it.
So, it was just, I was, somewhat new broker, awesome client on both sides, but amazing brand and concept. But seeing the deal from start to finish, working on both sides, growing as a broker, seeing the tenant side, the landlord side, and then just seeing the whole construction process. That wasn't even a restaurant space, but it pretty much was, because total gut job. I mean, I was standing on dirt in a retail space at 62 Grand Street and just seeing what $2 million does to a space from dirt to polished concrete, which was
great. $2 million.
I think it was about a $2 million build out.
And what was the square footage?
About 3,500 square feet on the ground.
That's a lot of money.
That's insane.
Yeah, he dug the basement out.
I'll do it.
So, I mean, literally standing out.
Bang Bang did all this.
Yeah, it was.
For tattoos.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It was if you I don't have any tattoos, but if you ever want a tattoo, you should definitely
No,
check it out.
Steve Reynolds' in our office is covered,
Oh,
and
covered,
he tells me what they cost, and I can't believe it.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone's different.
We've done, like Ben said, traditional, anywhere from nail
Steve knows
salons,
them. Yeah,
espresso
definitely.
bars, restaurants, cafes. But this one stuck out as early on in my career, and just seeing and learning and growing as a broker what it takes to be a good tenant broker, what it takes to be a good landlord broker, because Ben and I specialize on landlord representation, but just seeing both sides of that on the deal and being involved pretty much on a day-to-day, weekly basis, just seeing the deal and the space progress from reaching out to touring, to LOIs, to lease negotiations, to construction, to grand opening. I mean, it was a real 360 degree. It was just like everything that you wanted a broker in a deal to grow as a broker, just to see the process from both sides of the deal, because we usually have our landlord hats on and we're trying to get the highest price for our client, and the tenant broker's trying to get the lowest price, and we kind of meet somewhere in the middle. So negotiating on both sides and seeing that, and then seeing just the growth of the deal, that one always will stick, in our 10 plus career.
Nice.
As my favorite deal, just as client-wise,
For sure.
tenant, landlord reps, and just seeing that whole deal flow, and that was big. But 598 Broadway was a more recent deal, and that was a huge deal in Soho, and I've been super active in Soho, but that was my first Broadway deal, so that was like a trophy listing and a trophy deal that really stuck out recently.
Cool.
So I think we can. I think this has been great, and we could wrap pretty soon here. But just one last question. You guys clearly have so much activity throughout Manhattan, and I feel like you're the go-to guys for retail leasing in Manhattan, right? But we have a bigger team now. It's a lot of people, and we also have a lot of clients at IPRG in Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx.
Yeah.
We have the Jersey team as well. So, like, what are the plans to fulfill the needs of our clients in Brooklyn and
Real
these
quick
other
before
markets?
they answer that,
Yeah.
I've already referred 3 deals, good locations in Brooklyn, and they crushed all 3.
I know, they get the deals done.
They got them done.
Yes.
Big numbers.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
we're actually super active in Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx as well. We are currently growing out the team to get more brokers to focus on that, but we're super active. We take a very different approach to it. It's our marketing that sets us apart from our competitors. We're super aggressive. We prep the spaces. We do nice videos if they're warranted. We make very nice, clean marketing so it's very clear what's available. And we just take an aggressive approach, right? So we can run the process, for any space. I mean, we've closed deals in Washington, D.C., Florida, California. We've done deals all over, even though we're based in New York, but we're still super active in the boroughs. And any one of your clients that are going to negotiate with their current tenants, like, we're happy to send them evaluations to make sure they're getting market rents, and we want to be a resource for them.
Yeah.
We always
Well
want to
said.
be a resource, and I think that the thing that sets us apart, I mean, Ben and I have been doing this for over a decade. Our best ability is our availability. Like, it's not rocket science what we do.
These one-liners.
It's
Yeah,
like,
got some good ones.
it sounds silly to say, but like, you learn pretty quick what separates a good broker and a great broker. But if you're just available, like, if you can get in touch with us, we're always going to respond, text, call,
Yeah.
email. I mean, it's the little things that go a long way, and we pride ourselves on the little things because I think it outshines the bigger stuff.
You never know. You guys have your numbers up, right? And a tenant can call you. If you don't take the call, you can miss it. And they're going to call
You
someone
might
else.
miss it, yeah, and then that's
Gotta be-
that's
yeah.
the thing. The tenants are always, if they want to be in an area, they're going to go to that area and call every sign off the street.
For
If
sure.
you're not responsive, or if you're not, you don't share, if you don't show that you have a passion for this, they're just going to go to the next guy.
Yeah.
How many brokers are in the city, but how many brokers are active and known as deal makers? So
sure.
that sets us apart. We're always available. We're always going to respond. It's not an hour or a day or a week to get back to. It's going to be with, like, matter of seconds or minutes, because I get this every day of, like, wow, like, I just sent you an email and in 30 seconds you called me. So it's like, it's the little things that.
Great.
So that's what we pride ourselves in. We've been doing it for almost over 10 years.
Yeah, and that's what your owners want you to do too. They
Yeah.
want a broker that's going to be doing that.
In our industry, time kills
Yeah.
every deal. So we do our best to make sure that we don't delay anything. If anything can be done yesterday, we've gotten it done. There's no reason with technology today. You could be on vacation, you could be anywhere in the world, and you can get deals done, moving on. And the phone works, right? So we really pride ourselves on just making sure that there's nothing that we're doing on our end to delay a deal, because time kills every deal in our industry.
For
I love
sure.
that. Well said.
Absolutely.
I think,
Facilitate the deals.
I think we've got to end right on that because that was good.
Okay, let's do it. So
Perfect.
yeah, this has been great, guys. Really insightful. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for
And
having us.
For
Oh, yeah.
anyone listening, if you have some retail spaces you're looking to lease, please reach out to Ben and Greg.
Perfect. We look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
guys.
thank you.
All right.